This was an antibiotic-resistant infection outbreak at a children's dental clinic in Anaheim. There were 10 clinics owned by Scott Jacks, who died. His widow was approached by Sam Gruenbaum, former CEO of Western Dental, a non-dentist, inactive lawyer whose specialty is to make clinics profitable and then sell them to private equity for millions of dollars of profit. And she agreed with Sam to run the clinics in a certain way, including Anaheim, to make it extremely profitable to make millions of dollars. And the way they did it is that Sam Gruenbaum came in with his management style and put a daily dashboard in front of every dentist. And every other dentist could see that dashboard, and all the employees could see that dashboard, and management could see that dashboard at the end of the day. And he looked at it every day. And if dentists didn't meet their production quotas, he came in and figured out how and why they weren't. And then he fixed that problem by rewarding dentists who did the production that he wanted them to do, which was over-treatment, doing a pulpotomy, which is a baby root canal, and a crown on every single tooth that needed treatment, regardless of whether or not it needed it. The pulp to crown ratio, in other words, the root canal to crown ratio was 100%. That means every time there was a crown, there was also a root canal. That's unheard of. Okay? But more importantly, during the depositions, the dentists all denied responsibility for the infection outbreak by saying, well, I didn't have any responsibility for the water filtration system. Now, at the beginning of the year of 2016, there were no infections of children coming back into the dental clinic saying, hey, I have something going on with my mouth. You treated me last month. None. By May and June, there were 10 coming in a month with dental abscesses. Dental abscesses is an infection in the mouth. Antibiotics are being given by the dentist, but no dentist cares to investigate what's going on. There's emails being exchanged. What's going on? What is this? We don't know. Keep treating. That's what Sam Gruenbaum said. Just keep treating. Nobody cared to look into what was going on. And by late July, a little 2-year-old boy, Majid Odeh, one of my clients, came in, and the dentist got his parents to consent to 4-quadrant work. Why? Because that got the production up. Go in and work on every quadrant of his mouth. Now, when I went to get my deep cleaning done, the dentist wouldn't work on 4 quadrants at once. They'd only do 2. There's a reason for that. It's very dangerous to do that to a little boy. Okay? But they did it anyways. And they used the water that they had been seeing for months was infecting children. Well, they didn't know it was the water, they said, but they knew. They just chose to ignore it. And this is what they did to the kid. The infection ate into his jaw, down into his tissues. His submandibular lymph nodes had to be removed. It went into his lungs, spots on the lungs. He had to have a titanium in his jaw. He was in Chalk Hospital for a month and a half. And he had to have bone grafts. 2-year-old boy. Right there, Majid Odeh. He's now 9 because the dentists have hired lawyers and their insurance carriers have been fighting this case for over 7 years now, trying to not pay him what they owe him for not being able to ever eat solid food again, talk normal. Food falls out of his mouth when he eats. The kids at school call him the vampire. Because they did this to him. They knew. The dentists knew that there was an outbreak of something nasty. Samuel Gruenbaum, the owner or manager, he calls himself the CEO. That's what he said on KCAL 9 and CBS 2 News. He's a CEO, non-dentist, who's running the place, knew. But nobody cared to look into the water filtration system and figure out what was going on. Months were going by. More infections, more infections, more infections. Keep treating, keep treating, keep treating. And this is what they did to the kid. Okay? So if you're out there and you're watching this and you see what I'm talking about, share it with friends and family. Come back to my channel. Let's go over this case because trial is coming up on October 6th of 2024 for little Majid Odeh. Little 2-year-old Majid Odeh. Okay. So sad. So I'm going to be putting more content out about Majid and his life, and I hope that people will share it. Now, if this was your child and you found out that the dentist knew that there was an outbreak but did nothing, that the clinic was being owned by and run by a non-dentist who knew and did nothing except for push more production, and they took your little 2-year-old boy and they put him in a papoose board and strapped him down outside of your presence and did 4-quadrant work on him with water they knew was infected, or should have known was infected if they turned a blind eye and said, well, it's just not me. You're the dentist. You were prescribing antibiotics for something nasty the last several months for several kids, dozens of them. You didn't know this was going on? I mean, if you didn't know what was going on, then you got to pay for this. Okay? This isn't just some joke, guys. He can't eat solid food for the rest of his life. He had all of his lymph nodes removed. He can't fight infections. He's on antibiotics every single year. They have to break his jaw every couple years so it grows straight. The bone grafts they put in aren't growing straight. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical treatment. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost earnings. And the capacity of this young boy is not there. Hundreds, if not millions of dollars of suffering. And a punitive damages award to go with it. That's what I'm asking for. Now, I know no one wants to look at this stuff. No one wants to see the worst dental outbreak in the United States of America, all for profit. They don't care, right? But if you're on that jury, what do you award a young boy who lost his jaw because dentists were following orders of a non-dentist performing procedures at a rate that was neck break with quotas, and then the dentists say, well, it wasn't me. And a boy loses his jaw for the rest of his life. If that was your boy, and that you trusted those dentists to do the right thing, and they did this, what would you ask the jury for? And that's really what we're talking about here, guys. We're talking about the fact that a little boy and hundreds of others were infected with this bacteria that no dentist cared to even look into. The dentist didn't even go to the hospital when these kids were in there to see and check up on them. Not my problem. I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, you did. And you got to be sent a message that you can't do this. Parents need to stand up. Jurors need to stand up and say, you pay a lot. Because if this is what you're going to be going and doing, you got to be held accountable. Because if we don't hold you accountable, then you're not going to be held accountable. And that's what civil jury trials are for. Is that people like you and me, parents and members of society, can look at the circumstances and say, man, you messed up. You pay him money and you pay punitively for what you did. And I'm going to start speaking out about this case every single day until October 6th, 2024 comes, the day that Majid starts his 10-day jury trial for justice. Majid's 10-day jury trial for justice is coming. And we want to ask the jury for $10 million because this young little boy lost his childhood. He lost eating solid food. He lost talking normal. It's going to affect his earning capacity for the rest of his life, his relationships, all because his parents put trust in a dentist who then said, well, it wasn't my responsibility to look into the infections. After dozens and dozens of infections had come into the office claiming that something was wrong. They went in anyways. Look at this stuff, man. I mean, if you're out there, look at what happened to this young boy. We're going to go for it, man. We're going all the way to jury trial. We're not backing down. We want the jurors to see this stuff. And I'm going to be putting out videos every single day. So make sure that you tell your friends and family about Majid Odeh. Don't forget to talk to your friends and family about the situation. Be aware of pediatric dentists who might not have the best interests of your child. If they want to put them in a papoose board, if they want to take them outside of your presence, if they want to drug them up, if they want to do 4-quadrant work, be careful because they could do this to your boy too. And that's why the jurors on October 6th need to hear this evidence and need to send a message to these people, these dentists, Samuel Gruenbaum. You can't do this stuff to kids. If you do, you got to pay, and you got to pay a lot because this is scary stuff, man. If your kid went to the dentist and they tricked him into getting into that chair and then did this to their jaw when they knew that the water was infected, something was wrong, violated your trust and battered your child for lifelong pain and suffering and humiliation, how much would you want them to pay? I'd want them to pay my kid $10 million.